I used to think that I was alone until I started to share with the world, deep divers. Then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not alone anymore. This is dedicated to people who feel like they don't fit in anywhere, to outsiders, outcasts, people who don't get along with anybody, people who are like distant from their family, even though they live in the same house. It's dedicated to you because I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I felt alone for most of my life. I'm like, oh my gosh, nobody gets me. Nobody knows where I'm coming from. Do you know that in many countries, the worst form of torture is keeping someone in isolation, solitary confinement? That is torture. And there are so many people who feel like they are in solitary confinement. In fact, on the way here, deep divers, there's a woman who always passes by. Then she's like, oh my gosh, I've seen your videos. So we got talking. Then she's like, I feel so alone. I'm normally hypersocial, meeting with friends, and with this whole lockdown, I feel totally abandoned, alone. My whole way of life is gone. I don't know what to do. And I don't like to wear face masks, so I'm the odd one out. What's happening? Deep divers. Peace, infinite waters, diving deep once again. We are out here in the heart of nature, baby. I'm just, breathing in that good ass prana, baby. What's happening? You are going through a metamorphosis. That's what's happening. Raising the frequency. I had to learn how to be alone. Raising the vibration. I had to get comfortable in my own skin. And we ain't even had breakfast yet. Can I get a hello there? If you are alone, if you feel alone, if you don't fit in anywhere, you've come to the right place, because my entire life, I grew up feeling like an outcast, an outlaw, a fringe dweller. I didn't fit in anywhere. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm a very likable person. But I never felt comfortable in any circle. I felt like a misfit. And I started to realize it was because I had a different way of seeing the world. You see, I realized this. If you feel like you don't fit in this world, that's because you came here to create a new one. What? Slow motion this side. The universe had big plans for me. Now, when I look back in hindsight, I realize why I felt alone. Because a lot of people around me at that time, growing up, they didn't share the same values as me. What I held important to me, they didn't care about. Now, there are so many people right now who are forced to be alone right now with this whole lockdown. And I want to remind you, we are never, ever, 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 ever alone. The universe always sends someone. Huh? Explain, Ralph. Let me explain then. You see, I almost gave up on the world. I'm dealing with people who just don't get it. And this is why a lot of people feel alone, even though there are billions of people on the planet. Many of us find it hard to connect with someone on a deeper level. The reason why you feel alone is because you have depth. You no longer have time for shallow conversations, meaningless friendships, pointless interactions, because for you, it's all about substance, depth, intimacy, which means into me. And that's why a lot of people feel alone, because they don't want to fake it anymore. They don't want to pretend anymore. They're getting tired of pretending. I would rather be alone, deep divers, than follow a crowd in the wrong direction. And that was me. growing up, always standing in my truth, but sometimes standing alone. But like I said in the beginning of the video, I thought I was alone until I started to share with the world. And there are millions of deep divers out there. You see, if we go back in history, it took people to stand in their truth, to be alone, to give us all of these wonderful technologies we have today. All of these wonderful technologies we have right now. The Wright Brothers, who created, built, invented the aeroplane that we fly in today. They built the first one out of spruce wood. They were alone with that idea. Nobody else thought of that. At the same time, we owe it to them for the aviation industry. So sometimes you got to realize that being alone can be a blessing in disguise because it helps you to know yourself. Do you know how many people are with people they don't like because they're afraid to be alone? So guess what? They can't think for themselves. Guess what? They have more anxiety. Guess what? They don't love themselves. Guess what? They don't even know who they are. I had to come to nature, learn how to be alone. And by the way, there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. Let me explain. Go on then, Ralph. Okay, chill. You see, being lonely is different from being alone. When you are lonely, it means you are separate from the whole. And that is the real torture. But being alone is something totally different. When you are alone, it means you are still connected to the whole, but you are honoring your uniqueness. You have chosen to be the lion and roar in a world full of sheep. You have chosen to keep it real with yourself in a world where everybody wants to follow. You have chosen to speak up and say, actually, what's happening on the planet is utterly ridiculous in a world where a lot of people are just going along to get along. Congratulations, because the reward is coming for you. It came for me. Being alone was the best thing that happened to me. What? I said being alone was the best thing that happened to me because it helped me to love myself. I realized that a lot of my friends, they didn't want to be in those circles with other people, but they were afraid to get to know who they really were. I wasn't. I said, let me just meditate. Let me find out who I really am. Then I saw it was so beautiful. I got a whole universe inside of me. If you feel like you don't fit in, it's because you came here to stand out. You have to be different to make a difference. And listen to this. I'm the chosen one. What? I said, I'm the chosen one. That's why a lot of people don't fit into this matrix, because it wasn't designed for you. You came here to do greater things. You came here to do greater things than just be a slave to society. And you know that. That's why your family don't get you. Your friends don't get you, because you see the world in a different way than them. They are in the fear frequency. You are in the love frequency. They want to be controlled. You want to be free. And that's why it's hard for a lot of people right now to fit into society, because this society was not meant for you. You are a chosen one. You are an old soul in a young body. You're ahead of your time. Congratulations. So I had to learn this. And my, oh my, did it pay off. I want to remind you of this. When you spend time alone, one thing happens. You're forced to face yourself. You're forced to face your shadow. You're forced to face your fears, your anxiety. And therefore, you become your greatest version. When you are always distracting yourself, I said this, the human being is on the run from itself, always trying to get away from yourself. you're actually more lost. What? Slow motion this side. I had to be alone to find myself. Pardon? I said I had to be alone to find myself. I had to be alone to become confident. Confidence emanates from the Latin confidere, which means to trust. I trust myself, baby. I do a little samba and a backflip as well. If you don't fit in, I'm here to remind you there is hope. I told you, I thought I was alone until I started to share with the world. There are millions like me. I had to realize that I could only find those other deep divers by putting myself out there. If you feel like you don't fit in anywhere, I'm urging you to start sharing your story. I'm urging you to start sharing with the world, and in turn, you will meet your reflections. You will find your tribe. You thought there was nobody like you. No, there are millions of people like you who see the world like you, who have the same interests and values as you. But you got to be there so they can see you. You got to put yourself out there. You got to speak up, baby, so I can see you. And then you will find your tribe. It happened to me. I told you, I almost gave up on the world, but I'm like, wait a minute, I'm just going to share my truth with the world. Whoever listens, we're going to become best friends. Then the cat down the road appeared. Go figure, deep divers. If you feel like you don't fit in anywhere, it's because you're sane. And you no longer want to be around fake, boring people. You no longer want to be in a society which kills life. You no longer want to be in a society which kills creativity. You want to be free from the matrix. You want to be unplugged. And there are so many people all around us who are just satisfied with living a mediocre life. You can't accept that because you know you came here to be free. And the path to freedom can sometimes be lonely. The path to freedom can sometimes feel like you're all alone, but you're never, ever, 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 ever alone. The universe always sends someone. I said, the universe reveals its secrets to those who dare to follow their hearts. 7-day vegan challenge. It wasn't popular for me to go plant-based. I grew up in a household of meat eaters. Yes, my sister ate fish predominantly, but most of the people around me were eating steak, beef, chicken, everything. But I said, I want to be alone to follow my plant-based journey. And guess what? The same people who were judging me back then, because I was alone in that journey, are now asking for advice. What? Slow motion this side. Because they see what I've become through this lifestyle. They see my whole life getting better and better, me living in more abundance. You see, first, they laugh at you. Then they copy you. Then they want to be you. If you are alone, if you don't fit in anywhere, if you feel like an outcast, I'm here to remind you that in actuality is a blessing in disguise. Let me explain. It means you are premium cloth. What? You are premium cloth. You're cut from a different cloth. You're high fabric. It means you are exclusive content. It means you are the original, not the copy. And the original is always worth more than the copy. In a world full of clones, choose to be yourself. There are so many people who don't fit in anywhere, who feel like it's a curse, when in actuality, you will be the one that will help other people stand in their power. It only takes one person to change the world. If you go back in history, all the people who changed the world stood alone. Then other people got inspired by them. And that's the gift you have. Don't cry because you're alone. I told you, being alone only means that You are still connected to the whole. At the same time, you are honoring your uniqueness. So honor your uniqueness today, because that's your power. And then you'll just say, feels so good to be alive, baby. Can I get a hello there? Beautiful deep divers. I'm just, breathing in that good ass prana, baby. I love all of you deep divers. We are never, ever alone. The universe always sends someone. Shout out to everybody who's been getting the wonderful good ass prana shirts at ralphsmart.com/clothes and spreadshirt.com. And if you are a sexy ass model, who loves being alone, who wants to model the clothing, you want to model the clothing? Well, show me what you got. Got a question for me, deep divers? Add me on the verified Instagram page at official Ralph Smart, at Infinite Waters, and Facebook at Ralph Smart, at Infinite Waters. Check out the new book, Deep Divers, for more powerful, illuminating information like this. Feel Alive by Ralph Smart on Amazon and at ralphsmart.com/thebook. You are never alone. If you feel like you don't fit into this society, it's because you came here to create a new world. You're saying in your mind, we ain't having it. I don't want to wear a face mask 24/7. I don't want a vaccination. Your resistance is the gateway to your freedom. So continue to live in your truth and you will inspire other people. Have a beautiful day, deep divers. Peace. Infinite Waters, diving deep once again. Stay well, stay healthy. Peace. I thought I was alone until I started to share with the world. Because you are my family, deep divers. Have a beautiful day. Peace.